What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today is July the 30th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is focusing on today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points, we just had a couple that came out. ADP employment and also GDP both came in better than anticipated. So ADP came in at 104 versus a forecast of 20. And this one was a complete polar opposite to what happened last time. And that generally did spook the broader market for June's data. So clearly there must have been something that either overlapped or just some issue that did happen. But nonetheless, in theory, the market is taking both of these data points as a pretty good positive. So Dow is up 0.12, S&P up 0.23, NASDAQ up 0.41. So this is recovering from yesterday's somewhat of a bloodbath in the market, largely prompted because of companies unveiling their earnings, not necessarily the jolt numbers. Later this afternoon, we do have the Fed interest rate decision. It's fair to assume that nothing is going to come from that. But what Powell says afterwards, that will most likely move the market. In addition to that, though, we have a lot of big companies unveiling their earnings after hours today. So Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, some of the more notable names. So yeah, that should in among itself really move the market. Getting right to it, starting off with SoFi, it is getting dragged down, and that is because of their S3 that they did issue after hours yesterday. So they had a absolutely kick-ass earnings, triple beat, record numbers, and then afterwards they do an S3. So a lot of people are speculating on what this 1.5 S3 is for, potentially an acquisition or something along those lines, but nonetheless, I think nobody can really argue the fact that the timing is absolutely horrible. But when it comes down to the S3, it is a shelf offering good for 3 years, so they can dilute in that time period. But the market, what they do is it immediately prices in that you're going to dilute max straight away. So again, I do feel that the market is going to catch on to the fact that SoFi, even from their earnings, had like $2+ billion in cash and cash equivalents. They don't need cash. So for them to do this S3, potentially it might be for an acquisition. So I think that the dip might get bought fairly easily, but shorts most likely will be pouncing off of that. They've been rather timid for the last, 8-9 trading days, if I remember correctly. But 11.63% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 127 million shares overall are being shorted, with it at 2069. It is trading between this R3 and this R2. So 2034 is going to be a good support level, essentially. And then 2257 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So again, rather unfortunate timing, but if you do believe in SoFi bigger picture, average down, do what you need to do. But yeah, definitely something. It's an interesting stock, that's for sure. Moving on, ticker is DPRO, so Dragonfly. So it is up 8.06% because of this news. So it looks like a Fortune 50 telecommunication company is looking at doing a multiple order. So that's a pretty good thing as far as that. Going back over here for a second, the market cap is 97 million. So this is essentially a big deal for it. As far as shorts, it's not that big of a deal. So 7.26% of the free float's being shorted. So I don't really see them being a big influential factor for today. So this could essentially move up quite high from here, but with it right now at 495, it is trading between this R3 and this R2. So if you're going to see a nice push higher, 472 is a must hold kind of level, and ideally best case scenario, it does close above that. But 572 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So most likely, in my opinion, it will kind of trade within this range. But I think in reality, a lot of the stocks today are all going to be dependent on the data, as I mentioned, what Powell says afterwards, because for the most part, the market was starting to assume that there is going to be a cut. Moving on, ticker is MRVL, Marvel. It is up 8.84%. What I find very interesting about this stock is the reason why they are higher is because of this. So Morgan Stanley raised their price target from 80 or from 73 to 80. And so, of course, what's the market do? Instantly takes it above 80. So logically, that's I don't know, whatever. But aside from that, that's kind of why it is moving higher. When it comes down to the stock and shorts, 3.95% of the free float's being shorted, so definitely not a squeeze play. Shorts, although, have started to double down. You can see from this kind of teal line right here. So shorts recently have started to really, for whatever reason, double down. Maybe they do feel that they are going to flop on their upcoming earnings. Aside from that, though, with that 83.14, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. 80.93 is going to be a strong support. 86.03 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. In my opinion, I do feel like this is going to get dragged down a little bit, possibly even to this R1, because logically, based on why it is kind of higher, doesn't make sense for it to be at 83. So nonetheless, just watch for this R1 for it to hold. Moving on from here, Open Door. So they are down 1.46%. So as of right now, it is losing a lot of momentum. The only thing that really came out was a amended 13G, which did signal Vanguard reduced some of their position to 66 million shares. And that was from 86 prior. So I don't know, this is a little bit speculative, but the timing of this sale does coincide with that whole shareholder meeting. So maybe they were somehow benefiting potentially from a reverse stock split or something along those lines, or a reverse stock split vote. Definitely very odd if you ask me. When it comes down to Open Door, though, 34.12% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 223 million shares. So all-time high numbers right now. If you're looking at trading it with a 202, trading between this S1 and this S2, so $1.38 is going to be a strong support. 207 is going to be that must kind of hold point, so it has to fight and get above that if you're going to see any sort of recovery. So again, I know meme stocks and kind of squeeze plays, momentum stocks don't really pay attention to this all that much, but just kind of take note of, in my opinion, of that 207. And then last but not least, you have ticker NVO. So they are down 4.69%, piggybacking off of yesterday's negative news. So nothing really coming out from them today. With it, the shorts, 0.77% of the free floats being shorted, so that's not going to be a kind of point to watch for. With it at 51.33, trading between this S2 and this S3, so 39.12 is going to be a strong support. 64 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And it's actually gone down so much, I have to look at the 1 week chart on a side note. So most likely neither of these are going to be touched, at least in the foreseeable future, at least this week in my opinion. But still, it just goes to show how crazy of a sell-off did occur with this stock. So let me know your thoughts on these kind of stocks and what big money's doing with them. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I do give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.